basic geometry and physics. Or some people call it billiards. Or more specifically, the game where you could be a hustling asshole. Ever since my first experiences with the sport, I loved it. But what are you supposed to do when you don't have the room for an actual pool table? Well, you go to a bar and you get kicked out because you suck.
Stay out.
Or you could play pool video games. Their side pocket. Championship Pool. Minnesota Fats Pool Legend. And let's not forget the uniquely titled Billiards. But uh-oh, this one's sealed. You know what this means.
So today, we're gonna be unboxing, Billiards for the Sony PlayStation, 1.
But chances are, you've never heard of the arcade game Ball Shootout.
Developed by e-scape Intermedia, Ball Shootout was exclusively released to arcades in 1994. Unlike the majority of pool arcade games that simply had a 2D overhead perspective, Ball was one of the few that had real 3D graphics. In fact, it was the second pool arcade game to have this 3D viewpoint. The first one being Cool Pool, which came out 2 years prior and used very similar hardware. But the main difference was that the cabinet used a trackball, and the game featured a strip mode. Yay! Ball, on the other hand, uses no special controllers or additional connectors, so it will play just fine in a JAMA-compatible arcade machine that uses a standard joystick and buttons, like my Neo Geo MVS. After connecting the JAMA harness to the PCB and flipping on the power, Ball Shootout boots up and decides to have a seizure. Yeah, I'm not really kidding. I've seen a fair share of weird arcade game boot-ups, but this one is, it's something special. First you get flashing color bars, then this little speck comes flying down, and then it chucks a bunch of ROM chips. And you want to know how long this boot sequence takes? 35 seconds. Yeah, I timed it. Pretty unusually long when you consider that most arcade games at the time took like 5 seconds at most. Alright, looks like we got a little backstory. It's talked about only in whispers, and most people believe that it's only an urban legend. An underground pool arena that can only be reached by a mysteriously hidden elevator that's also an 8-ball. If you know the right password, you're in the corner pocket. It was so secretive that profit rates dropped to -900%, and the corner pocket was forced to close its doors since eventually everyone stopped giving a shit at the end. After inserting a quarter, you hear the odd sound of what appears to be a gun being cocked. Are we gonna play pool with cue sticks or guns? Or maybe cue sticks that are modified to shoot bullets? Actually, that's a great invention. Cue guns!
Shit.
So you have the choice to pick from 9-ball, 8-ball, or the practice mode known as straight pool. Enter initials? You want me to do that now? Okay then.
Enter year of birth? What for? What? It only goes up to 2020? That's absurd. My kids can't play this game now. What the hell?
Then you and your first opponent arrive in a limo at the corner pocket. The secret door opens, and you travel down an elevator with this excited fellow. Here lies Sharky Great White Pool Shark. A pool shark who happens to be a shark. I don't even know what to say. Alright, Trixie Shots, let's get this game started. The first thing you'll notice about the gameplay are the basic untextured polygons and somewhat choppy frame rate, but this was before 3D was a standard in gaming, so I'll cut it some slack. To set up a shot, you simply line up, select your power level, and hope for the best. You can also put spin on the cue ball or shift the camera if you need to. It's all done in a very simple and intuitive fashion, but you know, I'm looking at this control panel and there's quite a bit of real estate here. I think we can make this a bit more interesting. Alright, it's a difficult shot, but I'm going for the 9-ball in the A pocket. Yeah, now that's some fine work. When you miss a shot, you'll be greeted by your opponent, who will then fly around the table. Yeah, it's a little weird and disturbing to not see half their bodies, but okay, I guess it works. They always seem to shoot at a vertical angle, and they even have crazy one-liners. Trixie says things like, "You hit the white ball first, right? I also have a PhD in poolology." Oh, I broke a nail. Huh, quite the contrary when you don't even have fingernails. I can't get a good shot. Well, maybe it would help if you opened your eyes. What the hell? I can't get a good shot! As with any pool video game, the physics need to be good, and thankfully they are quite accurate in 9-Ball Shootout, but something that isn't accurate is the direction the striped balls rotate in. I mean seriously, look at this. Like many early 3D games, the camera is a problem, and that's without question the game's biggest drawback. When preparing for a shot, the only way to rotate the table is to rotate your cue stick as well. You do have the aforementioned ability to shift left and right, but the main problem is that the majority of your shots will be taken without a view of the entire table because this is a 3D pool game where there is always just one view to look at. Pool is a game that revolves around prediction, and when you cannot predict where the cue ball will roll after a shot is made because you can't see the whole table, it can become annoying. Oh yeah, and the camera doesn't even move after you shoot. No, it stays put. So if a ball rolls off screen and you hear it clacking with other balls, you have no idea what happened until they have stopped rolling and the camera resets. Oh, now see that? I made that shot without even having to look at it. That's how good I am. God, if this camera would just stop being a stubborn asshole, then this pool simulation would be pretty close to perfect. I mean, it has a solid engine, a fairly okay frame rate, and good accurate physics, but the camera just really takes away some of the enjoyment that could have been had and replaces it with a simple annoyance. An annoyance that you sometimes don't even notice, so it's not enough to make you quit, but I think we can all agree that this camera could have been upgraded. Just like the one I'm using right now. Besides the advanced graphics, the characters are what really make 9-Ball Shootout unique, as they truly give the game a special identity that no other pool game has or probably ever will have. It would have been much less interesting if there was just another floating cue stick magically shooting away, so I'm glad they're here. Right in the intro, the opponents let you know that you are not playing an ordinary pool game, and in fact one that is home to some of the most unique players you will ever meet. And hardly anyone here could be labeled as boring. In addition, their quotes often suggest vague and very strange ideas. Trixie says things like, "I want to be loved by Q." So you want your cue stick to love you? Okay, but wait a minute. Q is capitalized, and one of the opponents in the game is known as Susie Q. The profile for Pix Pockets, oh jeez, says, "Look out, because Pix may pick your pocketbook." Have you checked your pockets? No, why? You stole my wallet! You bitch! How do you know what I'm saying? Tex Shooter is the typical, "The government can't ever take away my Second Amendment rights" kind of guy. And he really reminds me of Bob from Sunset Riders. He even says, "Looks like I ride into the sunset," just like Bob did. The third guy, Confidence Man, what? Happens to look exactly like me. Seriously, tell me they don't look like the same guy. And if we are two different people, then what's my name? Maybe it's Determination Man. However, by far the most disturbing character of them all is the second opponent, Jackhammer, who both looks and talks like a molester. Don't call me, I'll call you? I'm sorry, are you suggesting we do certain things outside this game? Oh, indeed you are. Your profile says, look out, beating him on the pool table doesn't mean you've won if he gets his hands on you. That's really creepy. No, really, it is. The game is essentially telling me that if I beat him, there's a chance that he's going to assault me. And with a name like Jackhammer, I think it's a strong possibility. As far as difficulty goes, the earlier opponents are pretty easy to beat, including Jackhammer, unfortunately. And you don't even have to be very good at pool because they'll frequently miss even the easiest of shots. But the game does become much more challenging in the later stages. For the second to last opponent, Evil 8-Ball, I can only assume that an evil robot and a magic 8-ball decided to have a kid, and this was the hideous result. His profile says, if you don't run the table, you might as well step back and learn. And that's essentially how it goes. If you miss a shot, it is rare that you can come back and actually win because it's very likely that 8-Ball will keep sinking balls until the match is won. At this point, it's pretty much required to plan well and predict each of your shots. Of course it's not impossible, but it will take any player several tries to beat him. Unless you're like, God. Or Sharky. But once you do beat him, you'll face the final opponent, the oh-so-mysterious 9-Ball. Like his profile says, he really is a super being. Because he never scratches, never shoots a ball that he's not supposed to, and can make shots that would be damn near impossible in real life. Trust me, it's not uncommon to watch him make at least one ball in on a break, and then keep going until he wins. And it's not like you can do anything to stop him. Of course you only have the chance to shoot when he misses. And when or if you get that chance, running the table is almost required to win. Arcade games are well known for their ruthless difficulty, but this is most definitely one of the hardest that I have played. Whether it's 8-Ball or 9-Ball, it will take you at least an hour to even get to this guy, and then you can expect it to take a good 20 minutes or so until you are the one who comes out on top.
So we've seen that this is not an easy game in the later stages, but what do you get for actually beating it? Well, I'll show you right now. And that's it! That's a reward. You get to keep playing against 9-Ball until you run out of quarters, or you give up. What? What, you think this is a joke? No. No, why would it be a joke? No. There's no fucking ending!
Oh, I've tried. I have beaten him multiple times, and the game still loops. 9-Ball even says the same things like, if you can beat me, you'll be the best. So even he doesn't acknowledge that I have in fact won. Sure, the game tells me that player 1 has won the game, but the same thing happens when you beat anyone else. Nothing's different this time. And because 9-Ball is the final character you face, it just loops. Endlessly. You don't get to see 9-Ball with his mask off, or the corner pocket blow up, or Trixie Shots and Susie Q making out, or anything like that. No, an ending is completely absent from this game. I would call this unacceptable, but there is hope. There's another version of 9-Ball Shootout called 9-Ball Championship Shootout. Yeah, and it runs on the exact same PCB, the only difference are the reprogrammed EEPROMs. The game was released not long after the original, so let's see what kind of updates the developers made. To begin, there's actually new music. The song that plays during the introduction has been improved, and there's an entirely new song during the gameplay. In addition, you now have the option to use the masse technique, which enables the cue ball to curve radically around the table. In real life, this technique is done by hitting the cue ball vertically, but 9-Ball Shootout has no time for that, and you can make shots that would be insanely difficult in real life. Another welcome addition is the ability to jump the cue ball, which is pretty nice to have. And of course it comes with the ability to shoot the damn ball right off the damn table if you want, or strategize your breaks by jumping right into a rack of balls. Smart. The test menu, which was lacking in options before, has much been improved, as you can now set longer time limits, change the difficulty, and actually test the controls like an arcade test menu is supposed to have. The only real negatives to this version is the unaltered boot sequence that still takes 35 seconds, and the camera keeping its clunky personality. But really, I'm glad that this edition of the game even exists.
To tell you the truth, I'm actually kind of impressed. This version does have some nice updates. But the question is, do you have an ending? Let's find out. Well, 9-Ball Championship Shootout my ass! How can there be a championship if there's no winner? Apparently I'm not the winner. 9-Ball's not the winner. So who's the winner of this so-called championship? It was one thing for you to not have an ending, but you, championship, oh, I cannot even begin to explain how disappointed I am in you. You had all these updates, but apparently an ending just wasn't one of them. You know, I will not endure any more of this bullshit from either one of you. I'm gonna go play some pool in real life, while you two think about how horrible your programming was, or something. God, what a joke. Never again!
Hey, thanks a lot for watching the video. I really appreciate it. If you liked what you saw, then please consider hitting that like button and subscribing. Both of those things really help me out. I've also got my last 2 Forgotten Games episodes right here if you wish to watch those, and I've got a link to my Twitter in the description below. I'll catch you guys in the next episode that will be coming soon, and thank you again for watching. Have a good one.